What's going on, everybody? TheKennyDubz here with another Mega Man X dive video. Now, this is the third time trying to record this. I've been having some PC issues lately, so the past two times I tried to record this video, PC crashed. I'm gonna hope that it doesn't this time, because I think I've solved all the issues. But today we're going to be talking about the weapons that might go well with characters for raiding and raid bosses. Now, this is going to be a follow-up to the video I did talking about the characters good for raid bosses, so now we're going to be talking about the weapons that are going to be good for raids as well. Alright, so before I get too far into this video, I do want to just make note of this. This is not going to be a tier list. There's not going to be any particular order, much like the previous video I did talking about the characters. These are just going to be the weapons that are pretty good for raid bosses in general. Now, or bosses in general. Now, there is something else I want to note here. For the weapons, there's going to be a lot more of them. I'm going to be a little bit more lenient with the weapons I'm going to recommend, because those of you that played this game for a while, you know, for every character you use, you need 2 weapons. So that means there should be twice as many weapons you use as characters you use if you're going to do something like raid bosses. So if you're doing 5 runs of a raid boss, that means you need 10 different weapons, right? And then if you're buying more runs for the raid bosses, like say you do 10 runs total that day, then you're going to need 20 weapons, so on and so forth. So due to that, the weapons I recommend are going to be, like I said, a bit more lenient with how I look at them. So due to that, the video might be a little bit longer, but hopefully it will still be helpful. First up, going to be talking about some busters here. Biochemical Buster is a decent choice. Biochemical Buster has Biochemical Toxin, which is dot damage. Dot damage is always great. It's just additional damage that you can have access to. It also has Toxic Scatter, which deals additional damage as it fires additional shots. And then Out of Control adds even more rounds. But it also has hidden skills that are quite useful, such as the Boss Killer hidden skill. You could alternatively go for maybe Rapid Reload or Venom, but I think Boss Killer is just better, because Boss Killer ends up getting you 12% extra damage with anything you do while this weapon is active, regardless if it's character skills or, you know, using this weapon. So that's very good there. Shooting Dragon is a decent option as well. It has some dot damage there, which can be quite useful. Other than that, though, it has the continuous damage special attack, which again will be good because when paired with the dot damage, every hit you deal will be dealing additional damage. Now, the downside with this weapon is that this dot damage is not guaranteed. It's only a chance to trigger it. So due to that, I don't think it's nearly as good as the Biochemical Buster, but it is an option that I thought I would recommend as well. Following that, we have the Destructive Laser. Sniper style busters might not seem too great for raid bosses in general, but due to the weapon swapping kind of exploit thing, alongside with having a pretty decently high rate of fire, Sniper Busters, oh, this one in particular has a pretty high rate of fire, but Sniper Busters also deal quite a bit of damage as well. Here, this has Split Shot, this has Target Lock, and precision targeting, so you deal more damage when you hit something that is locked onto. So it's Rapid Reload, so increases its or decreases its reload time and increases the flight speed by 20%. As for hidden skills on this, I just like Improve Energy Shot because it increases the rate of fire, which is quite nice. Following that, you also have access to the Sniper Buster, which is another decent option. Again, it deals a lot of damage at once, so that's pretty useful. You can also go with this when you go with Crit Damage Amplification, which could be quite nice there. This also has Target Lock and even has Double Shot to increase damage you deal there. Outside of that, though, maybe you want to go with Rapid Reload for the hidden skill on this one to reduce the reload time by 65%. But the crit damage amplification is going to be very, very good for raid bosses as well. You can use Explosive Bolt as an option as well here as a sniper style buster. Explosive Bolt, if you're going to use this versus a raid boss, though, just make sure you don't have Player Killer, because Player Killer does not really help versus raid bosses. What you probably want is Penetration. Typically, because versus raid bosses, they will be in like one room, so it'll be a bit easier to get penetration off. And yeah, that's basically it. Because of the penetration, the spray caliber system will help out a lot because of the ricocheting. All right, now a fantastic buster for raid bosses is actually the Arc Cracker. Arc Cracker is an insane weapon for raiding, considering it's a buster. And the reason I say that is because it has access to Destroy Armor, and Destroy Armor is just phenomenal. It's the hidden skill you want to use, especially if you're using this for raid bosses. Reload time might seem good, but you definitely want the Destroy Armor. And the reason you want that is because not only does it inflict Defense Crush, increases the damage taken by the raid boss by roughly 29%, this weapon actually has a kind of nightmare-like passive with the Destroyer. Every time you hit a target, you gain a stackable attack buff, stacks up to 5 times. So that combined with the Destroy Armor is just very good for amplifying your damage in general, because the attack buff and the Destroy Armor, those will also increase the damage of your other skills as well. And you don't even have to keep the weapon active for the Destroyer to take effect. Though it doesn't last very long though, so you're going to have to try to maintain your uptime with this pretty consistently. Doomblade, a decent option here as well. I don't really like Doomblade all that much. Personally, maybe it's just the aesthetic of it, I don't know, but it has Destroy Armor, which again is very, very good. Not as fat as the Art Cracker's Destroy Armor, but you know what, that is better than nothing. It has Slash Wave as well for dealing additional damage. It has crit increase, so your inherent crit is raised. Output optimization as well is very, very nice there for damage increase. And for the hidden skills, you'll probably want to go with cooldown reduction device. Just because when you run out of your weapon energy, this will increase your or reduce your cooldown time by 50%. And this is worth noting, this isn't the same type of cooldown as, like, say, Nightmare is. I believe this is Slash cooldown, so it's a little bit worse than Nightmare. And I'm pretty sure Nightmare is Recharge as opposed. I don't remember the exact one, but I know one is better than the other. Speaking of Nightmare, I'm going to throw Nightmare here as well. Nightmare is actually one of my favorite weapons. I like this weapon a lot from the Star Force series. Nightmare, you already know what Nightmare is if you've been playing this game for a while. In case you don't, stackable attack buffs, whether you're hitting a target or you're just swinging the sword around. You gain a stackable attack buff, stackable up to 5 levels, which is very, very good. This also has high speed recharge, so the energy recharge rate is increased by 25%, meaning that you probably won't run out of your the cooldown. You won't run out of energy. That I don't know why it took me so long to say that. You also have ultimate output, increases energy, when energy is below 50%, increases the energy by 10%, which is quite nice because it'll be really hard for you to actually hit 0 energy. Then we have dash slash, increase the rate of dash slash by 10%, which is very, very good in general because dash slashing is basically what you want to do with swords anyway. That's how you maximize your uptime. And then for the hidden skills for Nightmare, you probably want to go crit amplification, simply because it increases your crit by 36%. So then you have a 36% chance higher of, landing a critical hit, which is very, very good. I also want to throw this out there now. At the time of recording this is May 4th, 2023. In the global version of the game, I believe we still have the melee bug. So the damage you deal with dash slashing is actually nerfed. So until that gets fixed, the damage with swords might be kind of decolon. So just something to keep in mind for the, going forward, in case you're watching this in the future, or maybe the next raid boss comes around and you're not doing as much damage as you usually do with swords. I just wanted to put that out there. Next up, Berserker Greatsword. Berserker Greatsword is again another weapon I like from the Star Force series. Pretty cool looking. So for this, there's actually a few good things we have in here. High speed recharge, just like Nightmare, very, very good there. Dimensional Rift is quite nice because what this does is this creates a Dimensional Rift, and that does dot damage while the enemy is in the Dimensional Rift, which is quite nice. We have Dash Slash as well, increase the damage rate of that by 10%. And then we have Dimensional Convergence, which might not seem inherently good, but there are some characters that this energizes with pretty well. If there's something that is afflicted with slow, that amplifies their damage by a lot. Character that comes to mind immediately, Dive Armor 0. Using Dive Armor 0 for raids, well, going to be doing a little bit more damage if you're pairing him with something like this. As for your hidden skills for this weapon, probably want to go with Ultimate Breakthrough, I think, for this one. The damage and special attack is not going to do anything because I'm pretty sure bosses don't buff themselves. Crisis Amplification, depending on the unit, actually, this might be okay, but I think generically you want to go with Ultimate Breakthrough for this one. Next up, we have the Ancient Relic. I speak praises of this weapon a lot. This is such a phenomenal weapon to make use of because of its utility, and it's pretty good for raid bosses as well. So, a reason for that, Dash Slash, already great there. Cooldown Reduction Device, again, something else that's really good. Output Optimization, still good. These are all things that increase your overall damage. Crit increase, again, very, very good there. And then we have Burn. So this is a sword that actually has dot damage for you, which is very, very good. However, if you're using this for raid bosses, the hidden skill is going to change quite significantly. So in PvP, generally you want the speed rune, because I think the speed rune is generally the best for this. However, if you're using this for raids, one option you might use is a protective rune. A protective rune would really, it has more niche applications, just because you would use this for versus raid bosses maybe you're having trouble surviving against. I can't remember one recently that was hard to survive against, but there was one that was pretty hard to survive against recently. I forgot his name. A big face in the middle. He uses the cubes, which is pretty annoying. But if you're using this for raids, what you actually want to use is the assault rune. Now, the reason with the assault rune is because, check this out. When the weapon runs out of energy, you gain a crit damage enhancement status and increase your crit damage by 99%. That is a huge increase in crit damage. And with characters like, say, Celebration Rico, who's already really good for raids, increasing your crit damage even further is very, very good. Or a character like, maybe like Furham or New Year's Cinnamon. So things like that, just things you want to keep in mind when using this weapon. But Assault Rune is the go-to skill if you're going to be using this for raids. Next up, this is actually very, very important, because at the time of recording this weapon is available for free. Once again, this is the Sinister Saber. Now, this weapon is very, very good for raid bosses. Basically, its only real purpose is for boss fights. So let's go into why this weapon is good, because I know a lot of people might not necessarily know about this weapon because of how limited it is. However, first up, you see this immediately, Turf War, which is pretty cool. I'm also going to reference right there, like that. We gain a stackable attack status when hitting a boss. Stacks up to 4 times. So wait, that says stakes. All right, whatever. Anyway, so roughly, over a 20% attack boost. Very, very nice there, just for hitting a boss. I get your crit increase, got your ultimate output. There can only be one extended duration of Turf War by 50% when you target as a boss character, and increase damage dealt by 5%. So not only does Turf War last longer, you get an additional 5% damage amplification because you're fighting a boss. On top of that, we have special ultimate output when energy is below 20%, increase damage by 10%. Again, another nice thing there. But one of the big things here is HP recovery. This is actually very, very good for some units, because some units you just want to be really reckless with, right? But this also gives you a bit of survivability that's going to be used versus the more difficult bosses, or just, it's kind of in general. Now, this also has other skills that are very useful for raid bosses as well. HP recovery is the one I recommend. Also have Boss Sentinel, reduce damage you take by 12%, which is quite nice there. It's just damage mitigation. But you also have Weapon Combination Type 1 and Weapon Combination Type 2. You keep a melee and launcher weapon at the same time, increase damage by 12%. It could be useful if you're using a melee and launcher weapon. You already have healing in the character's kit. You might have some Boss Sentinels in your DNA. Weapon Recovery Type 2. When you equip a machine gun and melee weapon at the same time, increase damage by 12%. Again, these two are more dependent on your setup. I think overall, in general, HP recovery is the best option. But if you're going for something more niche, you can go with weapon combination types 1 or 2 as well. But this weapon is just great, and it's free. Like, all you really have to do is play the Monster Hunter event, and you can get it. Downside is it is a limited weapon. Next up, Thunder Sword. Now, Thunder Sword, I think, is an okay option for raiding as well. Take a look at what it has here. Attack increase, not bad. Lightning Strike, when you attack, release a lightning bolt that damages the target upon contact, which is actually pretty solid there as well. High speed recharge, we already know how that is. This only increased it by 25% instead of 50%, but hey, you know what? That's pretty good. Crit increase, not bad there. You always want more crit, especially for raiding. Ultimate output, more DPS output, very good there. And then we have Paralyzing Current. Lightning Strike, when Lightning Strike hits a target, the target will become immobile. This doesn't matter all that much versus raid bosses. However, it wasn't in general. You come over here and you see we have Immobilized Special Attack. So that will increase the damage you deal by 14%. So that makes that a bit more appealing. However, we have more important things to worry about down here as well, as you can see. I mentioned earlier about crit damage increased by 36% when using this weapon. That's pretty good there. But we also have Lightning Strike. When causing immobile or hitting a target that is immobile, your crit is enhanced and your crit damage is increased by 86%. So this is probably what you're going to be using when using this for raids. But like I said, you could basically use any one of these. I think a Lightning Strike is the best though. And just in case, Lightning Current is how you will inherently do that. So that will be quite useful there. And there are some characters that synergize well, with hitting a target that is immobilized. But you do want your crit damage up as high as you can when you're going for raid bosses and high scores. Singularity Slasher isn't a bad option either. Singularity Slasher is more for PvP, however, it does have some things that are quite nice here. Cooldown reduction device. Redeeming Slash doesn't really do anything in versus raid bosses. But output optimization, energy absorb is actually pretty decent as well, because what this allows you to do is allows you to keep your offensive pressure up with, you know, with potentially restoring some of your energy. Conviction is pretty good as well because it increases the effective energy absorbed by 30%, so that's not bad. However, something we also have in here, which is very, very nice, is short range boost. Increase damage you deal by 12% when hitting a target in short range. Because you're using a sword as it is, you want to basically be in short range in general. So not only will this increase your damage while you're using a weapon, but it'll increase the damage of your skills as well. Next up, Grudge Axe. Grudge Axe is generally more of a PvP weapon. However, Grudge Axe does have some applicability as a raid weapon as well, mostly because of the hidden skills it was given access to. I don't actually know when it got access to these hidden skills on the global version, but as you can see, there are quite a bit of things here. We have out of control special attack, so when you inflict out of control, hit a target with it, increase them by 14%. Fantastic there. Weak spot strike, when you cause a target to become out of control, hit a target that is out of control, gain a crit damage enhancement that increases your crit damage by 105%. Fat crit increase there. High speed energy recharge, so you can keep using Grudge Axe more frequently. And then you have dash slash as well, increases the damage of dash slash by 15%. I think you want to go with weak spot strike or out of control special attack. These two seem like the better options for raids. However, dash slash wouldn't be a bad option either, though with how consistently you can inflict out of control, I definitely think you want to go with one of these two options because of the dash slash and the wretched curse. So you have a 60% chance of triggering out of control each time you hit with the Grudge Axe. Next up, Beam Machine Gun here. I don't think this weapon is all that great, but this could be like maybe something you'd use as like your wave 2 or part of like your B or C lineup. Weakness analysis, after hitting, gain an enhanced crit and increases your crit rate by about 51%, which is honestly, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Other than that, you have power increase, you have your attack increase, and you have your double shot as well, which deals additional damage. As for the hidden skills, we have improved energy shot, increases your rate of fire by 30% and energy, which is quite nice there. You have crit amplification, increase crit by 36%, which is very, very good. We have attack amplification as well, but I think you would want to go with either improved energy shot or crit amplification. Crit amplification probably is what you want to use when using this weapon because you already have your enhanced crit rate by 50%. But the improved energy shot isn't a bad option. Next up, Purgatory Machine Gun. Now this weapon is actually pretty good at, you can get it for basically for free. I say basically for free with air quotes because of the boss challenges you can get this from. It's not a bad option here, surprisingly, for raiding, because as you see, I'm already hovering over it. Willingness continue. Willingness weapons and energy increase your crit damage by roughly 59%, which is pretty good as it is. You got attack increase. You have suppressing barrage. Again, this would be useful for specific characters that can gain more damage when they're hitting something that is slowed. As for the hidden skills here, we have slow special attack, which is fantastic there. So you get your increased damage by hitting a target that's slow. Crit amplification again, which is not bad there. All right, this one I don't think it's really all that great. But again, you need so many more weapons, you need characters, so I'll throw this in here anyway as well. Scarlet Tyrant. Scarlet Tyrant actually has quite a fat crit enhancement for you. That's 60%. From Weakness Analysis gives you an enhanced crit rate by about 51%. And then you have the Tyranny, which increases the crit from that by 20%, so it's about a 61-ish% chance to raise. Double shot, which isn't bad. And then for your hidden skills, you have improved energy shot, which is probably the one you're going to be using if you're using this for raids. Like I said, I don't think this one's all that great, but because you need so many more weapons and characters, I'll throw this in here anyway. Savage Tusk of Thunder. Ooh, I like this one. This is a weapon I definitely like. Here, improved energy shot increases your rate of fire energy by 10%. Always great. Trojan Horse is deceptively decent. The reason it is for that is because it removes buffs, but you don't really care about that. What you care about is that it also has defense crush in this as well. And because this is a machine gun, has a high rate of fire, 16 or roughly 17% actually isn't all that bad. for that. Power increases damage rate by 5%. Not too bad there. And then the Trojan Horse upgrade makes the defense quest last even longer, so that's fantastic. As for the hidden skills here, with defense reduction special attack, which is great. That'll be what you're using if you're using this in raid bosses. Or if you're silly, you'll use like Player Killer, because you made this for PvP and then you decide to use it for raids. But what you want to do is defense reduction special attack again. This increases the damage you deal by 14% when targets in defense reduction status, and that includes whatever skills you hit it with as well. So that's why that'll be good there. I'll slide Atomic Disintegration into here as well, because Atomic Disintegration, what this will allow is, it's not like inherently all that great. I don't think, like, it doesn't have any passives that will inherently, like, you know, wow you for this, but it has Flight Assistance Device, the range and flight speed increased by 10%. That means like your shots will travel there a bit faster, so that's not bad. Crit damage increase, that's quite nice there as well. Power increase, yeah, that's quite nice. Chain reaction, so your shots will basically ricochet off of terrain. I didn't mention, out of all the machine guns I've shown so far, this is like the shotgun type of machine gun here. So this is like scatter shot versus that's shot, this beam shot, that's shot, that's beam shot. So this is similar to like the shotgun, so it fires multiple bullets at once, like in a spray. So you can get more damage out that way. And now with split, you get your scatter shot will split into 7 ways, and with chain reaction, that can result in quite a bit of damage for that. And as for your hidden skills here, you don't really have much in terms of that, but Boss Sentinel, decrease damage take by 12%. You can also go Crisis Amplification. Again, this will, for the most part, depend on the unit that you're using. If you can actually make use of that, I think Boss Sentinel is better. Again, I don't think this is all that great as an option, but it is something that you can use. The Assault Rifle is also one I think is pretty solid for raiding as well. Take a look at the skills here. For Paralyzing Current, when you hit a target with the skill, there's a chance to become immobile. Doesn't sound too useful because of a raid boss, but more on that later. Improved Energy Shot, increased rate of fire energy by 10%, always good. Ricochet shots can bounce off of terrain, which is quite nice. Power increases rate of damage by 5%. Connectivity increases the chance of triggering Paralyzing Current by 40%, and when you hit an immobile target, increases damage by 10%. And now you can see why the immobilize is pretty relevant there. But on top of that, we actually have 2 very good passives here. Weakness Analysis, when causing immobilize or hitting a target that's immobilized, increase your crit rate by 78%, which is very, very nice there. Or you could go with Lightning Strike, when causing immobile or hitting a target that is immobile, increase your crit damage by 78%. So you can make use of either one of these to amplify your damage. If you're using a character that already has has crit stacking in their kit, you want to go with the crit damage. If you have a character that has crit damage in their kit, you want to go with the crit rate, depending on, like I said, depending on what you want to use there. So those are pretty fat buffs you can use with that. Got to talk about the Sinister Gatling Gun. The Monster Hunter event is currently going on at this point in Global. So this is a limited weapon that you can get with that. As for the skills here, we have Burn. Increases, does dot damage about 9% every half a second. So that's pretty good. Of your attack, which is pretty nice. We have Ignite, when your weapon attacks, deal continuous damage or hit a target in continuous damage status. There's a chance to trigger an explosion that that deals damage, which is quite nice. Power increase, that's nice there. Continuous damage special attack, again, very, very nice. So you already inherently get your continuous damage. Unfortunately, this much like the Shooting Dragon Buster is only a chance to trigger it. However, with this one, this is a machine gun, so you fire much more quickly with this. So I think it's a lot better because of that. The Magnum Hollow Soul increases the trigger, the chance to trigger Ignite by 30%, so the additional explosion damage you get, and the damage is increased by 7.5% as well. So this goes up from 57 to about 64. So that's pretty nice there. And then for the hidden skills, here you have Improved Energy Shot, which is pretty nice. Accelerant, which is, I mean, I don't know what the chance of triggering burns off the top of my head, Unfortunately, the wiki doesn't tell me either, so I can't speak very highly on this one, on this skill here. However, the weapon combination types 1 and 2 will be pretty nice because for 1, machine gun launcher, damage increased by 12%, and then for 2, machine gun melee, damage increased by 12%. So just depending on what you have equipped, this will trigger and give you additional damage. Something I didn't mention with the other one for the Magnum Aloe, or the Sinister Shadow Blade, for passive like these, as long as you have the both weapons equipped, you just inherently have the additional 12% bonus. So regardless of which one you have active, it's just, hey, you meet the requirements, you have this and this equipped at the same time, okay, cool. You get this damage amplification, which is very, very nice there. And then on top of that, some characters actually want to have you know, specific weapon types like this equipped, so then they'll get even more of a bonus with that from them inherently as well. This next one I wasn't really going to mention as a raid weapon, because this one isn't necessarily here for damage. This one would be more of a weapon you would use if you're having trouble surviving. So I thought I would throw it in because of that, because some raid bosses, a lot of people do have some trouble surviving. So I'll throw this one in here, Lover's Gaze. The reason for that is Lover's Gaze has quite a few things to use on it. First up is Love and Peace. After hitting, you can inflict Attack Crush, lowers the target's damage by about 29%, which that's good if you're having trouble surviving. It does a little bit more damage with this right here, a little more survivability with the defense increase. Damage implication right here with the damage reduction special attack. So when you hit a target with damage reduction, you increase damage you deal by 10%. And then this also has iframes as well on top of that. So when you run out of energy, you gain iframes. So that could be quite useful there for survivability. And then on top of that, you have the Fiery Passion, which combos with the Love Don't Hurt, because as you see here, increases damage rate by 100%, but decrease energy by 40%. That doesn't sound too great, just like immediately, but then you have to remember, in order for you to get the iframes, you need to run out of energy. So this increases your energy and increases your survivability a little bit due to that. Or you could also go with Boss Sentinel instead. So you just take 12% less damage when using this weapon. So, you know, that's just something you can use if you're having a bit more trouble surviving. All right, for sprayers, Electric Current Spray Gun. Not too enticing on its own. The reason you use this is just for the Destroy Armor, the defense crush here. Amplifies your damage by 34%. This will probably be something like if you're doing more than the 5 raid runs a day, you might want to use this because you're gonna run out of, you know, you're gonna need a lot of weapons for that. Hidden skills doesn't really have anything all that great. Maybe you want to go with range increase on this. Actually, I think that's the best one to go with, because the others don't really do much for you inherently, just like generically. Maybe Paralyzing Current, depending on the character you're using. If you have some other things that might, you know, combo off of that, but range increase is probably the best there. Yeah, this is just something you grab if you need like something else, or maybe you're lacking, and you can get this essentially for free as well. So, you know, this is a more friendly option for budget players, if you don't have a lot using. Essence of the Abyss is, I think, in a similar boat to the Electric Current Spray Gun. It has a lot less range Electric Current Spray Gun, but it also has Destroy Armor, again by the same 34%, so that's quite nice there. It has Devour as well to come up with the Dark Spheres. This deals additional damage, and combined with the chance with your Destroy Armor chance, you can get in pretty decent damage off of that. Dark Spheres is now AoE damage, so it might be a bit easier to land that. As for the hidden skills, you have defense reduction special attack there, or you have range increase, but you would want to go with the defense reduction special attack. Again, not the greatest weapon, but you know, another option. Bit of an interesting option here is a Pyro Executioner. Again, this is kind of one of those you might not immediately jump to it depending on what else you have, but has improved energy shot. Attack increase, range increase is all pretty good. And we have Slash Fire. Gain enhanced crit when the weapon runs out of energy by 102% for the enhanced crit. So that's really nice there. You have a crit damage increase by 9 when using this weapon, and then on top of that, you also have access to. Oh wait, does burn? Oh no, this just inherently burns. It doesn't tell me how much this does that, but that's right. It also inherently has a dot damage. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to recommend that in the first place. Yeah, it doesn't really tell you how much the burn does. so that kind of sucks. I'm assuming it's not going to be all that much. But you also have access to Boss Killer or Sprayer Expert. Sprayer Expert might be better just because if you're using 2 sprayers, Boss Killer if you're not using 2 sprayers. Now the reason Sprayer Expert would be pretty decent is just because as long as you have 2 sprayers on your character, you'll just get the 12% attack bonus. Whereas if you just have Boss Killer, when this weapon is not active, you won't have the 12% damage. So if you're going double sprayer on a unit you're using for raids, then Sprayer Expert. If not, you want to go with Boss Killer for this one. Gator Fangs. Now Gator Fangs is a phenomenal weapon. One of the better sprayers in the game. Very, very nice. There's a lot of damage. Inflicts chilled. Chilled is basically a slow, so characters like Dive Armor 0, they get additional damage when hitting a character that is inflicted with slow. Other characters do that as well, but Dive Armor 0 is just the first one that pops into my head. On top of that, you get Rending Fang, so when you're in CQC or Close Quarters Combat, you deal an additional attack that deals roughly 83% attack damage. On top of that, you get the Predator status when hitting a target with Rending Fang, so you want to be close to them anyway. You get an increase to your shooting speed. Now you shoot even faster while doing that as well. And then on top of that, with Rapid Reload, while you're in a Predator status, reduce reload time by 30%, and the reloading time becomes half a second when you're in the Predator status, which is quite nice. And then you have your hidden skills for this, which you will probably want the Razor Fangs, I think, for raiding. You could go with 0-range adaptability as well, just so that you can just be a bit more reckless, but damage is damage, so I think you would want to go with Razor Fangs. Attack amplification might be okay as well, though. Next up, the Explosive Flamethrower. This is another limited weapon here. I haven't really specified which weapons are limited. I've kind of just been going over them. The only weapons I've really specified were the 2 that are actually event limited. But Explosive Flamethrower is a nice one as well. It's a sprayer. It has dot damage inherently, so that's always a plus immediately. Incendiary rounds, deal additional damage, shoot fireballs, so that's quite good there. Continuous damage special attack, which is fantastic as you already do dot damage inherently, so increasing damage to even more. Slash fire, we've already seen this. Gaining enhanced crit when your weapons under energy. Good. Power increase, and then you have full combustion, increase damage at incendiary round by 40%, and with a chance to gain crit status and enhance crit rate by 102%. This cannot be shared with slash fire. However, that is fine. Because now you can have a chance of getting the slash fire status without running out of energy, which is actually pretty nice there as well. As for the hidden skills, crit damage amplification is probably what you want to go with. You could go with accelerated cooling for the incendiary round, which isn't actually bad, but I think you just want the crit damage amplification because you want to deal more damage. Now we come on the assault equipment. One of the weapons I think looks amazing, but also one of the weapons I think it's one of the best raid weapons in the game. So let's take a look at why. You know, it might not look too great at first. Improved energy shot, increases rate of fire energy, pretty good there. Positioning system and weapon unlock homing effect on the warhead, pretty good. But then we come down here, and after hitting a boss, there's a chance to inflict defense crush and lower its defense by roughly 43%. Which is very, very potent, and I think that might be the most potent defense crush we have on a weapon. It's quite nice. That's other skills as well. You know, weakness analysis actually isn't bad, but I think you want to destroy armor most of the time. Having an increased crit rate to 154% is quite good though, but destroy armor is just so good because of the fat damage increase you get, then increase everything else you have, which is very, very nice there. Though it is a launcher, so it has a bit of a slower rate of fire, but this weapon is very, very good for raiding with its hidden skills. Bubble Bomber is another weapon that's a bit more defensive if you're having a bit more trouble living versus a specific raid boss. It's not here for the damage, it's just here for your survivability. You have access to Oracle of Life. When you get hit, you get healing. It can do a little bit of damage with the Water Flea Bubble and the Luciferase, so that's quite nice. And then you also have another healing option with regeneration here as well when you run out of energy. Again, this is just if you're having a bit more trouble surviving as opposed to dealing damage. Another weapon, if you happen to be lacking in much better option, Death Diffusion. It's really not all that great. Like on paper, it seems like it'd be pretty useful, but overall, I don't think it's really all that worthwhile. It does have dot damage with burn, which is pretty nice. Crit damage increase, again, which is pretty nice. Improved energy shot, again, seems pretty nice. Accelerant, increased chance of burning by 40%, which tells you that It's only a chance of triggering that. And then for the hidden skills, it has continuous damage special attack, which is quite nice, and crit amplification. I don't know. I was hoping this weapon would be better than it was, but it didn't. It feels underwhelming, to say the least. Or maybe I'm just used to the other weapons being a lot better. Maybe that's what it is. Alright, I had to switch over to my Taiwan account for the last few weapons I do want to cover. The Monoclonius. This is released on a global version, but I don't have it on my global account. Let's take a look at this real quick here. First up, the story armor. We already know how good that is. Fantastic skill there. We have tracking missile. When attacking, there's a chance to release a tracking missile that deals a fat, roughly 73% attack damage, which is good there. It'll do even more if the destroyer armor is active. Then we have Hydra, double the trigger rate of destroyer armor and tracking missile, which is again is very, very good. Improved energy shot, increases the rate of fire and energy by 10%. And then for the hidden skills, you have access to defense reduction special attack, which is insane to have on this, because you already deal additional damage with your with the defense crush. You have a pretty high chance of triggering it, I think, if I remember correctly, and the tracking missile as well. Just dealing more damage is always great. Another weapon that I do not have on my global account that is really good for raiding is the Shark Tooth Anchor. Now, I feel like some people might not know about this weapon just because it's not really that great for PvP. However, it's really good for raids. Now, let's take a look. First up, we have the Shark Power status, and I love this weapon. I love how this weapon is a reference to Metal Shark player. Gain a Shark Power status after hitting a target, increasing the damage multiplier by 30% when performing a jump cut or dashing cut. This effect only triggers once per second cooldown, which is very, very good. So increases your damage by 30% when you're doing dash slashing or jump slashing, which actually was pretty good. Also have crit damage increase. High speed recharge. We've seen that. We already know how good that is. Warming up complete. Gain an enhanced crit and crit rate by 43% when the weapon hits. So all you have to do is hit, and you get enhanced crit rate. So not only do you have your Shark Power status, you have warm up complete for your enhanced crit rate. And I don't know if this is in global, because like I said, I don't have this weapon in global. But this also has access to destroy armor as well as a hidden skill. So this weapon is just so good for raid bosses. It also has boss killer if you want to get for that, or short range boost, but I think you want to go for destroy armor. As what this will allow you to do is this will allow you to swap off, go to a different weapon, and get in maybe a big hit from another weapon. Because increase your damage by roughly 29% just off of that. And what this also allows you to do is make use of weapons or skills that have access to defense reduction special attack. Also need to shout out the Neon Laser. Neon Laser is actually pretty good for fighting bosses as well. This weapon seemed underwhelming at first, but then using it and looking into it a bit more, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. When you hit a target, it inflicts lock on. So that increases damage by 20% when you hit them with a beam. That's pretty good there. Improved energy shot, increases damage and rate of fire and energy, which is always great. 1 point of concentration increases the effect of lock on by 50%. They'll take an additional, bit of damage from there. And then as the hidden skill, you have access to attack increase, which isn't bad, but you also have boss killer. So that's all, that's all very, very good there. I think Lightbender is worth mentioning as well. Lightbender is just a very, very nice weapon to have access to. It does huge damage. It also has additional things to bolster its damage as well. Attack increase. You have your Bender, which launches 3 saw blades that deal additional damage that attack outwards, and then they come back to the original position. So potential for quite a bit of damage there. Crit increase. We have Ultimate Streak as well, which increases the damage rate by 65%. So that means your damage register is going to be a bit faster. And then for the hidden skills, which we don't have in global just yet because this weapon just came out. At least I don't think that we do, because again, I don't have this weapon on global. You have access to short range boost, which is pretty easy to typically get into versus raid bosses for the most part. And we have interference special attack, which increases damage you deal by 14% when you hit a target. That's an interference status. And you do have access to interference status because of jamming. Alright, and before we wrap things up here, just want to touch on a few weapons that are not out in global yet that I think are worth looking out for raids. First up, the Red Lotus Saber. Red Lotus Saber is actually a pretty nice weapon to have access to here. Once we get access to it, it has access to burn, causes the target to burn and take 16% attack damage for every half a second. And you might notice based off of the wording there, it doesn't say a chance. So that's really, really good. Inherently cooldown reduction device, reduce your cooldown by 50%, good. Inherent destroy armor, again, very, very good there. Conflagration increase the effects of burning by 50% and the duration by 1 second. Again, very, very nice there. The Fiery Pursuit actually might not matter all that much depending on the raid boss, because some raid bosses don't move, others are pretty mobile and like barely want to stay on screen and, you know, teleport around a lot. So this could actually help out a little bit here. We have the Red Lotus Salvo when attacking. This is a huge pillar of fire that continues to deal 150% attack damage to all targets in range. Again, very, very nice. There, when it hits a target, it causes the target a burning, and the state is shared with the burning status by burn. So not only does it, you know, deal continuous damage with the fire pillar, but it also causes them to get inflicted with this status once again. And due to them getting inflicted with that status once again, Conflagration also is active as well, so enhances the effect and duration. As for the hidden skills, you can go with boss kill or continuous damage special attack. You know, if you hit a target within continuous damage or continuous special attack, continuous damage status, you'll do 14% more damage, or you know, additional 12% when you just hit a boss character. Either one of these is fine. One of these is just has a bit of a condition, while the other one is just while you have the weapon equipped. Well, you have to have the weapon equipped for both of these, but you know, one of them is just like while you're facing a boss character. The other one is while the target is then continuous damage status. I think Evil Eye is a decent option as well that hasn't come out in global. I really like this machine gun, though I can see why a lot of other people don't like it. I think it's kind of underwhelming. You can inflict blind with it, which isn't bad. Improved energy shot, which is not bad either. We've seen this on a lot of weapons already. Then we have the Power of Evil, causing blind hitting a target in blind status gains a Power of Evil status, increases the damage multiplier of Dark Shot by 75%. So if you are inflicting blind or hitting something with blind, the multiplier of this gets increased by 75%, which is a pretty sizable chunk increase there. We also have complete penetration, which might not matter versus most raid bosses, to be honest, but some raid bosses like Gunner Sigma, I think, is the one. Some of them, you know, cause terrain to pop up, and you know, then it might be hard to get at them sometimes, so that'll be pretty useful for that. We have Halo Bullets. When attacking, gain Halo Bullet status, reducing reload time by 50%, increasing range and flight speed by 50%. Again, I think that's very, very nice there. Increasing the range and flight speed means your damage is functionally increased as well through that, and because you can penetrate terrain, again, sometimes that can be very, very helpful. As for the hidden skills for this weapon, it has Boss Killer, so you know what? Hey, that's pretty good there. Unlimited ammo is okay, but I think you'd want to go with Boss Killer for using this for raid bosses. Finally, the Deconstructor. Now, Deconstructor is, I believe, the most recent weapon in the Taiwan version, limited weapon, and it's very, very good. Now, just starting off, hey, look at the wiki for this. Actually, it has armor crush inherently, like 30% armor crush. That's its first passive. Fantastic. And improved energy shot, again, we know about that. Complete penetration, again, like I just mentioned previously, that will depend on the boss you're fighting, whether or not that's useful. Then its third passive, Strength Association, green Strength Association status when causing defense crush hitting target that has been defense crushed by this weapon, increasing the damage multiplier of its shot by 40%. So this shot here, dissociated shot, gets increased by 40%. When you have that status, which is quite nice. It has range increase as well, and then it has Dissociated Barrage as its final passive. When attacking, getting Dissociated Barrage status that can shoot out 5 rounds. However, this skill consumes 100% more energy, so the energy you take up, it's doubled. However, you shoot out 5 rounds at a time, so you do a lot more damage potentially overall with that, and it has quite good range as well. So that's something to keep in mind when using this weapon, but I do think this is a weapon to look out for as well. I actually forgot to mention Acidic Machine Gun when I was looking at other things earlier, because I don't have it on either one of my accounts. I think Acidic Machine Gun is a pretty solid weapon overall. This as well. It has poison, so dot damage inherently with its first passive, so that's very nice there. This is a machine gun, regular machine gun, improved energy shot as well, so it has a bit more ammo. It has acidic missile, which I've gone over before. It inflicts poison, and it does inflict slow as well. I lied, it doesn't inflict slow, but the acidic missile has a chance of hitting with the poison, and the acidic missile just deal about 68% attack damage. It has continuous damage special attack, which is really nice there. Increases damage by 10% when you hit a target in continuous damage status, which this already does. And then the enhanced sulfuric poison doubles the rate of the toxic missiles when the toxic missiles hits a target. Additionally, causes a slow status. This is where the slow comes in, and that will be useful again for some characters like Dive Armor 0. So that's good. As for the hidden skills on it, it really only has 2 that you would want to use for raid bosses. It does have HP absorb, which that's not that great for raid bosses. It can be useful because some of them do summon adds. But it has Toxic Boost, which increases the damage rate of acidic missile by 35%. And it has Venom, which increases the effect of lethal venom by 75% and increases its duration by 1 second. And lethal venom is its inherent poison status, which has a 20% dot damage over time. So increasing that by 75% is probably what you will want to go for realistically for that. And I think that will do it for the weapons for raid bosses. Now again, like I mentioned earlier, you need double the weapons that you do for characters for raid bosses. So that's why this video is probably a bit longer. Don't know how long it's gonna end up being. I can see the recording right now, and it looks to be quite a bit longer than the character video, but we'll see after that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Help the channel to grow and learn the content. And I'd like to give a quick shout out to my YouTube channel members and my patrons. Thank you for supporting me, allowing me to do what I do. If you'd like to support me as a YouTube channel member or on Patreon, you can find the information down below in the description. And if you're a supporter on Patreon or YouTube channel member, you can also gain various benefits in the process, such as being able to view videos like this one a little bit earlier before they go public on my channel. And with that, I will catch you guys next time. Later.